Hi everyone, my name is Lensa. I'll be going over membrane transport. What is it? It is how things move from in and out of a cell across the membrane. There are two types. One is passive and one is active transport. Passive transport. Passive transports are when things move naturally or easily across the membrane without the use of ATP energy. The molecules from the molecules move from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. For my visual, I'll be using water bottles to represent this. So the water bottles represent people who are in a crowded space and it's way too crowded and they're getting really hot, so they decide to leave one by one into a room that's more quiet and more chill. Filtration. Filtration uses pressure to push stuff through the concentration gradient. For my visual, I'll be using a coffee filter. When the water separates from the coffee ground, this shows how pressure is being moved through the coffee filter with the water and the coffee ground filtering together to make a cup of coffee. Simple diffusion. Simple diffusion is when molecules spread out on their own. For my example, I'll be using this perfume and I'll be spraying it into the room. So this shows how simple diffusion works. When you spray the perfume, it'll spread out into the room. Osmosis. Osmosis is when water moves through membranes to where there is less water and more solute. For my example, I have two water bottles. We have an unsalted water and salted water. The unsalted water has higher concentration levels of water than the salted water bottle, so the water moves to the salted water. Facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion is a type of carrier-mediated passive transport. It uses protein. It does not use ATP to move molecules. For my example, I drew someone waiting for the bus. Instead of them using all their energy to walk to wherever they need to get to, they're using the bus, and the bus acts as a protein that helps with moving things that you get to your destination faster. Active transport. Active transport is when molecules move from a low to high concentration. They need protein and energy to move across the membrane. For my example, I'll be using Barney, and Barney wants to go up a hill to see the pretty sunset. So he tries many times to climb up there, as you can see, and then he finally gets at the very top using all his energy. And this is an example of active transport. Vesicular transport. Vesicular transport is when the cells use vessels to move molecules. Endocytosis is when the molecule enters or moves into the cell. For the example, Bob is eating a hamburger, so Bob is entering the food into his body that will be moving through his body and be digested. Exocytosis is when molecules exit or move out of the cell. And for the second one, Bobby has had too many burgers and he vomits out the food, leaving the food to exit his body.